Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Ty, and I will be your moderator for today's program, Finance Operations Teams from Cost Centers to Revenue Generators, presented by Resourceful Finance Pro and sponsored by Gaviti. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the chat box in the control panel. If they're regarding the subject being presented, I'll add them to the queue for questions at the end. Now I'd like to introduce your speaker, Jan Lazarev.
Hey everyone, my name is Jan and I'm CEO and co-founder of Gaviti, a receivable collection management platform. And today I would like to talk to you about how you make yourself and your finance team revenue generating center instead of just being passive. How do you make yourself more strategically important to your organization and contribute to its growth? So let's start by reviewing a little bit what finance team and what roles you guys hold today. So there are a few main areas where finance team and its leader focus. So first of all would be the past. The past is where you deal with reporting and prep your organization for audit. This is basically where all the past result would be past year, past quarter, depending on how you report, reviewed, and it's an opportunity to reflect. And the goal mostly is to wrap it up, finish the accounting period, and move on to the next one. The next task or responsibility that many finance teams have is the future forecast, planning, analysis, projection. Basically, where the finance team try to suggest to the rest of the organization what they could expect, how they could plan in terms of resources, in terms of HR, in terms of any other inputs and KPIs for what's coming. And then there is the present, where you deal with finance operations. Would it be accounts receivables, accounts payables, payroll, any of these activities where you just need to make things happen, hopefully according to the plan you projected earlier on. Now, this setting is probably familiar for you, and it leads to finance teams being very passive, really trying to avoid any risks with the hope of making as many mistakes as possible. This is basically you and your team playing on defense, hoping just not to concede any goals of sorts. And there could be different approach, right? In all the areas, if we're talking about accounting, you could be you could find better ways to report, maybe find ways to get bigger returns, um, basically benefit the company instead of just doing the standard reporting and doing the bare minimum. If we're talking about FP&A, it could be great to see, different modeling. Maybe there's some ways where you, as a finance team, could suggest to management better ways, better benchmarks, and obviously make the whole business more efficient. But more importantly, operations. Um, there is a lot of room, especially these days, to innovate in your operations, making it more efficient, making it admin effort lighter, reduce cost, and even generate revenue. It might sound odd, but finance teams can actually help the bottom line of the business by expense reduction, therefore increase profitability. Now, how it could be done? Uh, Basically, technology is your friend. Many finance teams and many office of the CFOs using the same technological stack for decades. And the last few years, and especially after COVID, there is a wide availability of tools available to your teams and you that can help you operate at higher standard, be more productive, make less mistakes, collaborate better, and hit higher KPIs. Now, in the finance operations area of your finance department, there is a real opportunity to generate revenue. Um, Now, where it comes to play. So payroll is actually area that somewhat digitized, and obviously the better technological stack you use, the less mistakes will happen. You will not have to either overpay your employees or then deal with maybe lawsuits for underpaying them or paying them late. Good tools will help you to follow regulations and laws, and it will take you, plain simple, less time and less human effort to generate salary slips, therefore cutting your costs. Um, Now let's talk about AP. AP is more complex, and again, there is great availability of tools for your accounts payables. Well, first of all, historically, accounts payables used to be really heavy on effort on just work hours, requiring a large team. Today, with proper tools, you can save a lot of time. You can even detect fraud. It's very common domestically and internationally that many times hackers would try to scam your clients and basically redirect their payments to hackers instead of you, putting you in a rough spot with your clients. So having a good AP process can definitely help your clients and you. Obviously, having everything digitized will help you um, keep everybody in check, make sure that there is no recurring problems, and obviously good AP system will include some sort of procurement tools that will allow you to negotiate better, keep tabs, make sure you don't overpay, you don't overcharge, and be in good standing with your vendors. All of the above should allow you to operate better at lower cost, saving you some money and benefiting your bottom line. Now, this is where it gets really interesting with the accounts receivables. If you are a B2B business and you sell your service or products on trade credit, there's a lot of room you could benefit your organization by improving your AR operational standard. So today, probably you don't have a lot of tools. You might have your ERP, which would be your system of record, having all the invoices in it, but they're not really being worked properly. At best, you have some basic feature that's sending a generic reminder to your clients, maybe once a week, once a month, or when the invoice goes overdue. Um, if you decide to digitally transform your AR collections team and function, there are few areas you could expect improvement. First of all, operational efficiency in terms of admin effort, not having to work every single invoice manually. Um, Having good automation will just help you to cover a lot more ground faster and have your employees to focus on high value tasks, not just on manual, repetitive, simple tasks that you don't have tools to perform. Um, as a result, because you would be able to cover 100% of your invoices and clients at all time, you will get paid faster. And if you leverage some of the data available to you, you would be able to approach each client in more efficient way, therefore also driving them to pay faster. You basically would be able to engage the right persona with the right message at the right time, um, creating higher conversion. And in AR case, conversion would be a faster payment. Um, a side benefit of it, for which probably your colleagues in sales and service department will be thankful, is better customer experience. Um, AR collection is the last step for service. I mean, usually the client experience would involve the buying process where they interact with your sales team, probably the service or goods delivery process where the client interact with the relevant departments. And finally, the last thing in this customer experience that they get to experience is the payment. And if you run a proper tight process where you interact well with your clients, where when you are knowledgeable, where you offer them um, right payment options, your clients will appreciate it. And in many cases, their happiness and satisfaction with your company and your offering will vary based on this last interaction. So you could imagine amazing company that offers their products for great price with terrible collection team and terrible experience there. Probably this client will not return and keep buying from that vendor. Um, so for you, by digitally transforming your finance operation, in that case AR, you have a real opportunity to up your customer experience as well. So to sum it up, efficient collections team drives faster cash, smaller team that costs you less, and ultimately less overdue clients that pay you faster. Now, if you have a really good collection team and collection process, you can also benefit your sales. Obviously, if your company sells on trade credit, um, you have a balance between how much risk you're willing to take on providing or offering credit to your customers, to how much receivables you actually have outstanding, and how hard your collection team needs to work. So if you're confident that your collection team can perform and you can chase more clients, you can allow yourself to extend probably a little bit more credit and make more sales. These days, when we see interest rates increase, companies that would be able to offer better credit terms, more sales on credit, would probably benefit, win more business, and would be much more attractive. So by you improving your collections, you can help your VP sales and make them extremely happy that now they can sell more. However, it's important to keep in mind that the climate is changing. And as I mentioned, with increasing interest rates, everyday sales outstanding matter. With the very low interest rates, it was way cheaper not getting paid on time. Now that the interest rates improved significantly, and we showed in the next slide, it just cost you more. So before you going ahead and becoming more aggressive, your credit offering, make sure your collections can withstand it. Um, Basically, for you to optimize your collection process, your um, your ability to lower DSOs, there's pure incentive. With increasing credit costs, if you get paid faster, it's net profit for your company, or at least you save some expenses if you finance by external credit like bank loan, like any other type of capital raise externally. So it's important to keep in mind. And it was staggering with the increase in interest rates. The Fed in US, and for actually our listeners elsewhere, it would be also very true. In the last 9 months, we went from Fed interest rate of about 0 to 4, and now we could probably expect this trend to continue. Obviously, when you translate this Fed rate to bank loan rate cost or any other small business uh, loans rates, it's significant and it adds up. Um, so for you, I would say rule of thumb today, it's about 12% APR for, well, ballpark for any business related financing cost or loans calculation. So just imagine what would happen if you reduce your outstanding receivables by $1 million, $2 million, $10 million. I mean, each business has its own annual turnover, DSO, and goals, but doesn't really matter how you stack it. It always creates a meaningful impact for your business and real incentive for you as a finance leader to be proactive and try to improve your DSO, because this DSO improvement for many businesses, especially with lower margins, can mean that you practically doubled your company's profit for the year, or similar. And obviously, the higher the interest rates will be, the more incentive you, as a finance team member, as a finance leader, will have on improving those. Now, I bet everybody listening to this saying, well, that sounds nice, but it's probably a long process and significant changes take time. So here are few tips on how you could improve your collections fast. Um, First, and because you don't have any tools yet, just identify your top 10 clients that owe you the most. These are the ones to be really easy to focus manually. Just make sure you call them, you have your facts straight about everything outstanding, and just ask them to pay you. Most often not, it will work. If it doesn't work, ask them why they cannot pay you. Usually, um, if your standard line of business, your clients want to pay you. So if there is something preventing them from paying you today, they will share it with you and would be able to work with them on a speedy solution, and by this making the most impact. If you'll make your top 10 clients to pay, usually you would be able to show meaningful improvement quickly. Now, we are in Q4, we're nearing end of year. As we mentioned, interest rates now becoming higher, but there are plenty of companies that have a lot of cash lying around. And if you offer some of your clients who have due dates in January and February to pay you in December for 1 or 2% cash discount, they will take it. It will actually make a really good deal for you. It will actually make a great deal for them, and they will appreciate your initiative more often than not. So even if they will not able to take advantage of your offer, they will at least appreciate you trying, and maybe will be proactive next time, offering you to pay some invoices faster ahead of its due date, etc. And situationally, it might be a good deal for you, so you could consider it. Now, last step, review the credit terms. Many businesses run on standard credit terms without actually talking to the clients, and some clients could pay you faster. They don't really care. In other cases, clients will really appreciate extended credit terms, and just by you adjusting it, it will make your life easier. It's not uncommon that some companies with net 30 payment terms will be constantly 15 days late just because of their process. You could save yourself and them a lot of trouble by just extending, in this particular case, the payment terms to net 45 instead of net 30. And it will basically will allow you not to chase them every time, and for them not to be chased, which would make them really happy. So where you can extend it, where the clients actually can pay you faster, and many times they will tell you that, uh, reduce their payment terms. They will not care. Now, the last and final thing is to keep all of the above consistent and repeatable, and keep the DSO low for extended period of time. You need to automate the process with a solid SaaS solution. And in contradiction with you might be assuming, it's not as complicated, expensive, or time consuming as it used to be. As mentioned, there are lots of great tools, and actually, um, this this market map was published a couple days ago. There are some of the tools automating different finance task or responsibilities. Obviously, Gaviti is right up there with the AR sector. But the point is, today there are lots of tools. Depending on what part of um, your finance you want to digitally transform, you should look into that. And many of those tools will allow you to get going quickly. We're not talking about a few quarters or couple years to get going, and really painful um, go live integration process that you might have experienced in your past. Today, many tools are configured for quick adoption and fast, impactful results. And the best example we could give you is our own. So I'd love to tell you a little bit how we at Gaviti digitally transform AR collection for our users. Um, First of all, when Gaviti connects to the ERP, um, it becomes one single source of truth for anything collections for organizations. So it's not only available to all the finance users, but it actually allows access to anyone relevant on the team. So it might be your sales management, it might be your CEO, but you can get everybody on the same page, obviously manage permissions and show only the relevant data to this user, but everybody starting to see the same data, getting on the same page, and where people external to finance need to be involved, it's very easy to do because they already have the information available to them, have all the notes, everything around the solution, and sorry, everything around the outstanding invoice available to them in the solution. Now, because all the data is taken into the solution, it's it provides behavior-driven forecast, behavior-driven insights. So in that example, Gaviti would take your client payment behavior for you and project their payments for the future. Saving you a lot of manual effort trying to forecast your incoming cash flow, and B, being way more accurate because it's no longer guesstimate, it's your data leveraged for your benefit to allow you better planning, to allow you to be proactive and see if, in certain months, you believe according to the data that you don't have enough cash, maybe you need some external financing, or vice versa. If you think you're going to have way too much, you can either slow down your collection a bit or plan how to put this extra cash flow to work to benefit your company. Automation is a big part. Um, Best solutions will allow you simply intuitively to build cadences, workflows that will work for you. In case of receivable collection workflow would start with presenting the invoice to the client, to the follow-up in different stages of invoice being overdue, to notifying relevant personas, either the client or maybe internally in your organization, that invoice was paid, or triggering some other actions based on data changes um, to happen on time, right? So good automation in case of collections allows you to notify everybody in a timely fashion, unlike manually that things being forgot, somebody's out, getting to every step few days late, it will always add few days to your DSO. Plus, by process being automated and personalized, you manage to cover 100% of your clients um, in a way that's relevant for them. Unlike with manual, that at best you manage to stay on top of your largest clients, and then you have a really long tail not being worked. Personalized outreach. So um, good tool will allow you very quickly in a couple of clicks um, to create workflows that are relevant for each client or each group of clients. And you might have clients internationally, you might have your strategic clients that you probably don't want to contact the same way you address the majority of your clients. And each company has a use case that's slightly different, but the ability to create something personalized that would be relevant for your use case, your company, is highly, highly valued. Um, Internal escalations. Well, we mentioned that. The best practice is to introduce a tool that gets everybody on the same page and provides the relevant data points to you, your management, your peers, in other teams, and sometimes even people outside of your organization. Um, the ability to escalate internally is something that dedicated collection tools and Gavidi have, and being superior to anything you might have within your ERP. Basically, you want to use the right people for the right tasks. So maybe involving your CEO or CFO when the invoice is a couple days overdue, that's a bit of an overkill. However, when one of your bigger clients goes severely overdue, probably after a few weeks, it is a great idea to notify the relevant executives, the relevant stakeholders, and maybe even ask them to call the client or take some sort of action that would benefit you. Obviously, it could be used in a variety of different ways. Some of our clients that distribute goods would just use it to notify their warehouse to not ship any product until payment is resolved. And internal escalations and triggers could be leveraged in many different ways to help all your organization to work with you on a particular invoice or balance uh, that will ultimately allow you to drive faster payment. And this is where it's a great opportunity to touch high impact tasks. Many people ask me if Gaviti replace the collection specialists that are on the team, and the answer is no. But it makes them better, more productive, and more valuable to the organization. Today, majority of the time, your collection team spends just on trying to understand to whom they should speak and investigate a bit about what they should be talking about. and actually trying to do the actual outreach, picking up the phone, not getting answered, or just shooting lots and lots of emails. Now with Gavidi, the solution takes care of it for you, allowing the team members to take care of actual escalations. So if client is getting back to you and saying, hey, we cannot pay because of X, and giving you some reason, now your employees could really spend the time looking into that, solving this issue that prevents your client from paying. So they have much more time to solve problems instead of just performing tasks that could be performed by a robot. Therefore, they will solve those problems better, um, resulting in faster payments ultimately. The monitoring, when you get all your team on the same page, um, you can monitor and cover issues better. You can see and capture your clients' responses. You can see the effort that has been invested in collecting certain views, which was definitely great for annual audit. Um, you could be much more in control of your process. And obviously, because all the data, all the knowledge around your um, clients and their invoices being outstanding or overdue um, has a lot of notes, a lot of information to go with it. Now you have better context. So next time you're speaking to a client, you can approach them better, armed with this information. And to that, also the history from the log, from automated actions, and obviously your manual notes are very, very valuable. Now, the best and most engaging solutions will allow your clients to respond to you and would allow you to collaborate with your peers around each invoice, around each balance, around each client, um, making the communication more streamlined. So things are not being forgotten. So you get your responses in time and you're never stuck waiting for our teams. Again, shaving off a few more days from your DSO. Now, we mentioned that good collection process can make your clients happier, help them to communicate with you better. Best in class would offer a self-service portal for clients where they can pull their W-9, other documents they might need to process your payment, get the payment instructions, and hopefully, if you have the right solutions, to pay you, reducing the friction. I mean, many invoices can be paid right then and there, and your clients will appreciate you offering the solution, and you will appreciate uh, the faster payment. So it's a win-win. Better service for your client, better DSO for your organization and you. So to sum it up, if your state of mind is being more strategic, there is a lot to benefit from improving your finance operations. And I think now the biggest opportunity with the increase in interest rates is in collection, and hopefully this was a good example of how, with right approach and right tools, you could turn things around quickly and impact the bottom line of your organization. With this, I'm done, and it's a great opportunity for us to maybe answer some of your questions. I'm certain that some of you would love to ask something. Hopefully, it would be interesting for the audience. Ty?
Thanks, Jan. Yep, there were a few questions that came in while you were presenting. And folks, as Jan mentioned, we would now like to take your questions. So if you have them, please submit them into the chat box now. So first we'll get to the questions that came via email, then I'll turn to those that came in via chat. So our first question reads, how long do you expect we can see actual bottom line results when transitioning to a more strategic approach?
Awesome. Thank you, Ty. Thank you for the question. Um, Actually, I'm a big believer, and we've seen it multiple times, that you could see impact by the next billing cycle. So usually within few weeks, you would start seeing things moving around. Um, we showed, a couple of quick tricks on how to boost collections fast, and within a couple of weeks, you could already see um, improved incoming cash flow if you tackle these. I believe that there is a lot of opportunity also to make quick impact by just reviewing the AP and payroll policies to make sure you don't have, any leakage or fraud or like anything draining your company's funds there. Could be a simple process as well. And today, with the ability to introduce solutions quickly within a couple of weeks, it could also impact you. I mean, our numbers show that within the first month we already see movement. Within 3 months we see 10% DSO improvement or so, and within 6 months we would see a DSO improvement over 30% on average. So you would definitely start seeing results fast if you pursue um, these changes, and start being strategic aggressively.
Thank you, Jan. And now our next question is, I would like to be a strategic finance leader, but I am conservative in nature. How do you suggest I balance both sides?
Oh, that's a great one. Well, first, you're not alone. I mean, most of finance guys, and again, I'm accounting finance. I'm accounting major myself, working in finance for a long time before starting Gavidi. Uh, Being conservative is probably part of the territory. I think there's certain character traits that drive people into finance to begin with. So you're not alone, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. I think the first step is to understand there are lots of opportunities just beyond, doing the standard reporting and beyond um, what you used to do. Like, there's a great saying like, how do we approach audit this year? Well, we'll do whatever we did last year. So I think if you're looking to take initiative, and probably million YouTube videos telling that, I would start with small tasks. Realistically, if you'll succeed uh, being strategic on a small scale, it will give you more confidence to embrace bigger initiatives, taking a little bit more risks, um, and ultimately allowing you to drive better result. So to sum it up, start small. Once you succeed, take bigger swings. You should be successful with this strategy.
Thank you, Jan. And our next question looks like a two-parter. So how do you suggest I calculate the value of each DSO day? And how can I assess how much we lose based on rising interest rates?
Cool. Thank you for this. So this one is a little tricky to answer without a show and tell. So first thing that I would suggest is just Google for DSO formula. It's a very simple formula where you take your accounts receivables, divide by your credit sales, and multiply the result by the number of days in a period you're trying to calculate. So it could be 30 days if it's a month, 90 days if it's a quarter. Um, so that's the base DSO calculation. Again, you don't need me for that. Google will help you, and you'll get dozens of results for this formula. Now, once you understand this, you need to apply it to your organization. I mean, each organization has different amount of receivables outstanding at any given moment and made different amount of sales on credit. So you'll find the number right for you. From that point on, you can just calculate what's a day worth. So if you calculate for 30 days, 90 days, just need to, divide by the relevant number, understand what's a day worth, and every day you'd be able to improve. Is A, pure cash flow boost, and B, based on a current interest rate, could actually help you to reduce your business financing costs or actually generate you some financing revenue. So two ways to check that for the second part of the question. The first, I would go, probably in most territories for most businesses, you're somewhere between 10 to 15% APR. So 12 is a good rule of thumb, and if you reduce DSO by few days, that's just simple calculation from there. If you want to be more specific, probably if you're a finance leader, you know what you pay to your bank or to any of your lenders for the credit line. So this would be a good number to start from. Regardless, for most businesses, it's significant impact, and probably the number you'll get, unless you have very little credit sales or you pay no interest, is that it's worth your while to try and improve your DSO by 10, 20, 30%, because it would make significant impact on your cash flow and your financing costs.
Perfect. Thank you, Jan. Looks like we have one more question. What is the value of using a platform like Gaviti if I already have automation through my existing ERP?
Awesome. So, well, first of all, if you have something in your ERP, congrats. You are probably the minority, and it means you have actually a pretty good ERP. Now, if you use that and you see the benefit, using a dedicated solution is taking this task to the next level, because you will have better capabilities, you will have better ability to work on each task with people that are not necessarily part of your team, the finance team, and you would get better support for this solution, know-how, and data leveraging or benchmark. So to make a long story short, it's just taking your task and its performance few steps up, and if you have a little bit of scale and a little complexity in your organization, the result improvement will make sense, and will make a great ROI for the extra expense on the dedicated solution. So many organizations actually gain a lot of value by spending a little bit on a dedicated solution, because now they can run higher standard, therefore making more savings, making if we're talking about collections, making better DSO number, stronger cash flow, etc. So the added benefit just pays for the solution above and beyond, making great economic sense and hugely positive ROI.
Thank you, Jan. That was our last question. So I'll turn the floor back to you for any closing remarks.
Yeah, thank you, Ty. So first of all, thank you for joining us for the webinar today. I hope that I convinced at least some of you that it makes a great sense to being more proactive, more strategic in approach, and adopt various tools for your tasks, taking the operation to the next level. Obviously, if you have any questions particular about collections, you're more than welcome to reach us out at Gavidi. My team of experts would be happy to help you with advice or maybe to introduce our solution. And beyond that, happy upcoming holiday season.
Thanks again, Jan, for all the great guidance and info. And folks, in order to remain on schedule, we will respond to the overflow of questions via email in a timely manner. So with that, on behalf of Resourceful Finance Pro, I would also like to thank everyone for attending. This concludes our program.